So with that, I believe we can go ahead and call this meeting to order. If the committee staff could call the roll, please.
Assemblywoman Benitez Thompson. Here. Assemblyman Frierson. Assemblywoman Gorlow.
Here.
Assemblyman Hafen.
Here.
Assemblywoman Hadigi.
Here.
Assemblyman Levitt.
Here.
Assemblywoman Miller.
Here.
Assemblywoman Monroe Moreno.
Here.
Assemblywoman Peters.
Here.
Assemblyman Roberts.
Here.
Assemblywoman Titus.
Here.
Assemblywoman Tolles.
Here.
Assemblyman Watts.
Here.
Chair Carlton.
And I am here. So this evening, committee members, we have a long work session in front of us. So it looks daunting, but a lot of these are the one-shots and the supplementals that we need to process and get staged into the Senate as we move forward. So, and also we have, surprise, surprise, another bill draft request to introduce this evening. So we'll start with the bill draft. We'll go through the work session, and then we will go to the bills on the hearing. I'm hoping we can get this done fairly quickly this evening. So with that, Ms. Kaufman, if you would like to proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. BDR 231150 relates to the Public Employees Retirement System, creating the position of Chief Investment Officer as a member of the executive staff of the system, and provides other matters properly related thereto.
So with that, committee members, a number of you might be familiar with that issue. We did discuss it in one of our closings previously. So with that, I would accept a motion from Vice Chair Monroe Moreno on introduction. Second from Ms. Benitez Thompson. Questions or comments on the introduction? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any in opposition? Hearing no opposition, passes unanimously of all the members present. With that, Ms. Kaufman will walk us through our work session this evening, and we will go from there. If you have questions, please stop us as we go.
So are we starting at 4:51?
No, it's 37.
Start at 37? Okay.
Yeah. We're just going to work our way through the list. Everyone has a list, I believe, at their space. We're just going to work through these and then go from there.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Assembly Bill 37, as amended, revises provisions relating to the payment of child support. An unsolicited fiscal note from the Department of Administration was submitted, which identified expenditures of $54,822 in fiscal year 22 and $64,835 in 2023. According to the department, holding the automatic payment of payroll until review could not be done each pay period to include records that have a record of notice to withhold income, which includes the provision and arrears, and any potential lump sum payments would be a manual process to the payroll manager for the Department of, or the Division of Health and the DHRM. And the department indicated it would take approximately 40 hours per each biweekly to do this work. However, there was testimony at the hearing on April 21st from the Division of Welfare and Supportive Services. The individual who testified on behalf of the Division of Welfare and Supportive Services indicated that they were working on an amendment to strike language to address the fiscal note, and it would strike items 10 and 11 from Section 5, which defines the lump sum payment. Matt Tuma, the Deputy Director from the Department of Administration, testified that in doing so, this would remove the fiscal impact associated with that. There was one individual who testified in neutral on the bill, and that was Matt Tuma from the Department of Administration. And with that, there is an amendment that's suggested for this.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kaufman. Are there any questions from the committee? Ms. Kaufman, remind me, who testified on this bill? Who presented the bill?
Madam Chair, it was Kathy Kaplan from the Division of Welfare and Supportive Services.
Okay, thank you. I did not have that in my notes correct. Thank you very much. So with that, committee members, with the proposed amendment from the department, it would take care of the fiscal note. Are there any other questions at this time on Assembly Bill 37? Not seeing any. The chair would go ahead and accept a motion to, wait a second, I got to make sure I do this one right. Okay, so I think I've got this right. Dr. Titus, yes.
Sorry, thank you. Prior to the motion, just a clarification, did the amendments and the removal of the fiscal note, which I understand, did it remove the two-thirds?
I don't think an amendment would have done that, but let me double check. Because the two-thirds requirement is in section 13.
That was not removed.
And there's too many bills in front of me. So,
Because I don't have the bill.
$2 for withholding it. No, I don't believe that. Actually, I don't believe that addresses the two-thirds.
Okay. Thank you. I didn't have the bill, so thank you.
Okay, you're
Madam
welcome.
Chair.
Assemblywoman Tolles.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I apologize, I didn't know we were going to have this work session. I write all my notes on the fiscal notes in regards to questions and so forth. Would it be too much to ask for a short recess to just go get all of this information so we have it in front of us? Or
We
is
can
there
do
a
that
work
th-
session document?
We can do that this time. You have the list. Next time I'll make sure everybody gets the list, but from now on, you need to be prepared for every bill that we have ever heard could move at any time. So if you would like to go ahead and do that, I'll go ahead and take a very short break for that. There's like 4 policy bills, I believe, and the rest are all one-shots and supplementals. So that's just the 4 policy bills. So if you'd like to go ahead and go get your information, we'll take a short recess.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, I believe we can go ahead and come back together again. So we were on Assembly Bill 37 with the amendment that removes the fiscal note. The question in regards to the two-thirds, I don't believe the fiscal note impacts the two-thirds at all. So with that, committee members, are there any other questions or comments on Assembly Bill 37? That one always, after 20-some years, that one always, so the correct motion, since this is a first reprint, would be an amend and do pass as amended. I will accept the motion from Vice Chair Monroe Moreno, second from Majority Leader Benitez Thompson. Questions on the motion? As amended, ADPAA, oh, got it, okay. Yes, Assemblyman, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, as far as I understand, and we've gone through this before, and I just wanted to clarify. So, we're voting on the fiscal note, which it looks like there's not one.
Correct.
And so, but I just want to be clear that if we for some chance don't like the policy part of it, we can vote in favor of.
Assemblyman Levitt, my advice to you would be to vote how you feel on the bill.
Got it.
Because you would not want to give a signal that you supported something in committee, but then didn't want to support on the floor. If the fiscal note was important, that's fine. Every legislator should vote as they feel on the bill that's in front of them at that moment in time, because that's what your vote counts on. So
Got it. Thank
I
you.
would never guide someone to vote one way and and then another. So however you feel about the bill, it would be the best way for you to proceed.
Got it.
And I
Thank-
understand it's a bit confusing with ways, because we really don't opine on the policy. That'll be your vote on the floor, but I understand where you're coming from.
Got it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So with that, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those in opposition? I have Dr. Titus in opposition. And Mr. Levitt in opposition. The motion passes. And if I could, I'll ask Mr. Watts to take care of this one on the floor for me, please. Right? Please help me remember to do those assignments as we go. I tend to overlook those sometimes as we move through. So, Ms. Kaufman, the next bill is Assembly Bill 192.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Assembly Bill 192, as amended, revises provisions relating to the reporting of cases of syphilis and requires certain third-party insurers to cover the testing of pregnant women for certain sexually transmitted infections. Fiscal staff received an email from PEB indicating this bill would not have a fiscal impact since the agency already provided coverage for those services. And during the May 3rd hearing, Aaron Lynch, representing the Healthcare Financing and Policy Division, confirmed that there was no fiscal impact to Medicaid from this bill as amended. The presenter of this bill was Assemblywoman Cohen. There was one individual in support of the bill and one person neutral in the bill. There was an amendment, conceptual amendment, that was recommended by Assemblywoman Cohen, and she testified that she would like to change the wording in Section 3, subsection 1, to any person or entity willfully violating any of the provisions of NRS 442.010. With that, Madam Chair, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Kaufman. Are there any questions from any of the committee members? Dr. Titus?
Thank you, and thank you for that clarification. And that's a policy change here in this committee, but absolutely one that was critical to me supporting the bill, certainly, and so I do appreciate that it was presented.
And a lot of times in these options, it would have just happened on the floor, so it's just cleaner to go ahead and do it in committee, have the amendment drafted, process it on the floor, rather than having to wait on the floor for it. So we, depending upon the issue, that does happen in ways, sometimes. So with that, committee members, any other questions? Not seeing any. This is a first reprint, so the motion would be an amend and do pass. As amended, I'll accept that from Ms. Monroe Moreno, second from Ms. Benitez Thompson. Questions or comments on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any in opposition? Hearing no opposition, passes unanimously of the members present. We'll go ahead and give this one back to Assemblywoman Cohen, since she presented it. Moving on to the next bill, Ms. Kaufman, is AB 315.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Assembly Bill 315 as amended requires an employer of a police officer or firefighter to make certain information available to the police officers or firefighters regarding mental health issues and treatment. There was a fiscal note provided by the Nevada System of Higher Education for $136,000 in fiscal year 2022 and $16,000 in fiscal year 2023 to set up annual mental health awareness programs. However, and she provided fiscal staff with an email confirming that the fiscal impact had been removed in the amended version of the bill. The Department of Public Safety also issued an unsolicited fiscal note indicating it could not adequately determine the fiscal impact. Following the hearing, the department provided an email which provided which was provided to fiscal staff, confirming that the Department of Public Safety would be able to cover any fiscal impact within their operating budgets and not require any additional resources. This bill was presented by Assemblyman O'Neill, and there were two individuals who testified in support and one who testified in the neutral. Joanna Jacobs from Clark County had indicated that there was an increased fiscal impact of the amendment, including for the detention centers of Clark County in the amount of $46,839 per year, which was a revised fiscal impact.
So with that, committee members, any questions on Assembly Bill 315? Again, this is a first reprint. Any questions or comments? Hearing none. So the motion on this would be amend and do pass as amended. I'll take that from Ms. Monroe Moreno, second from, I'm sorry?
We don't have an amendment on this.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, we don't. So it's just do pass as amended. I'm sorry. Do pass as amended. I'll accept the motion from Ms. Monroe Moreno, second from Ms. Benitez Thompson. Any questions or comments on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. In opposition? Hearing no opposition, passes unanimously of the members present. We'll go ahead and hand this one back to Assemblyman O'Neill. Okay. With that, we can move on to 348.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Assembly Bill 348, as amended, transfers the Patient Protection Commission of the Office of the Governor to the Office of the Director of the Department of Health and Human Services, and revises provisions governing the commission and operation of the commission. In addition, the bill designates the commission as a sole state agency responsible for administering and coordinating matters related to participation in the Peterson Milbank program for sustainable health care costs. The bill, as amended, would place the Patient Protection Commission budget under the Office of the Director of the Department of Health and Human Services. The Division of Healthcare Finance and Policy fiscal note identified costs associated with provisions of the bill as introduced, which were removed through the amended version of this. With that, I don't believe there were any amendments to this bill.
So committee members, if you'll remember, there was a question about how we move bills when they're implementation bills. Later in the agenda, we will be hearing Assembly Bill 478, which trues up the Patient Protection Commission conversation that we had earlier about it being moved to the director's office, and that is how that particular budget did close in an earlier subcommittee closing. So now all three pieces of the puzzle have happened, so these bills can move forward in that parallel track as was questioned earlier. So with that, this is a first reprint, so it would be a do pass as amended. Accept a motion from Ms. Monroe Moreno, second from Ms. Benitez Thompson. Questions or comments on the motion? Dr. Titus?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This one has been a source of angst, I know, and it has been a struggle for me to get behind this bill. I will tell you that I appreciate the chair's changing and adding a person in the private sector on the board. Here's where it's going to get tough. However, having had all that conversation and acknowledging the change, having subsequently had providers reach out, hospitals reach out, and other folks express their concerns, I will be a no, unfortunately, on this bill. Thank you.
And I've had continued conversations with all of those, and that's why we have a two-house system. So with that, any other questions or comments on Assembly Bill 348? Hearing none, that would be a do pass as amended from Ms. Monroe Moreno, second from Ms. Benitez Thompson. Questions or comments on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those in opposition? So opposition is party line. Okay. A partisan bill on patient protection. All right, I'll go ahead and handle the floor statement on that when we get there. Thank you. Moving on to 349.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Assembly Bill 349 relates to the exemption of old-timer vehicles, classic rods, and classic cars from the provisions governing the control of emissions from engines as long as they are not used for general transportation, which is defined as being driven more than 5,000 miles during immediately preceding year. In total, the Department of Motor Vehicles Compliance Enforcement Division Pollution Control estimates that a total of $2.3 million in additional revenue will be generated in fiscal years 2022 and $4.8 million in fiscal year 2023 as a result of the provisions of this bill. However, the agency also estimated it would incur expenditures of $5,816 in fiscal year 2022 and $34,686 in fiscal year 2023 to develop regulations and to add a new position to verify classic vehicle insurance endorsements. The presenter on this bill was Assemblyman Watts and also Mr. J.D. Decker from the Division of Administration, or the Division Administrator of the Department of Motor Vehicles. There were 4 individuals who testified in support, and there were no amendments recommended.
Okay, with that, committee members, are there any questions or comments on Assembly Bill 349? So it isn't often that Ways and Means gets to process a bill that actually brings money in this way. So, Mr. Watts, I'm going to go buy a gold star for you, okay? So thank you very much. So we'll get it past this hurdle and then we'll work on the next one. So any questions or comments on Assembly Bill 349? Seeing any, it is a first reprint, and it was not amended here in committee. So this would be a do pass as amended from Ms. Monroe Moreno, second from Ms. Benitez Thompson. Questions or comments? I'm still quite curious about this sniffer thing that's going to be on the highway, but I'll find out about that offline. Sounds a little big brother to me, but Mr. Roberts.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a comment. Although I really support closing the loophole, I just have a challenge with the additional fees to the smog folks and everybody else paying the fees. That's going to be the challenge for us. If we could find another way to offset the smog repair that is in the bill, other than fees to other drivers and operators, I would be glad to support, but at this time, I won't be, so thank you.
Okay. So the concern is they're not going to pay their fair, that we're asking them to pay their fair share. Okay, all right. So with that, we're good? Motion second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those in opposition? Nay. So Titus, Hafen, Tolles, Levitt, Roberts. In opposition, motion passes. And Mr. Watts, you can go ahead and handle this on the floor. Thank you. You're welcome. Okay. Go from there. And now we have AB 404.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Assembly Bill 404 authorizes a person to file an application for a temporary or extended order for protection against domestic violence, but does not specify which county is proper venue for filing such an application. In terms of the fiscal impact, the Department of Public Safety, Records, Communication, Compliance identified expenditures of $27,477 in fiscal year 2022 and $64,113 in fiscal year 2023 to implement programming changes to the protection order program system and associated database. Fiscal staff, however, received an email from the Department of Public Safety that if the conceptual amendment presented during the April 23rd hearing was adopted, the fiscal impact would be removed. The testifier or the presenter on this bill was Bailey Bordelin from the Nevada Coalition of Legal Service Providers. And in terms of the amendment that was proposed, the amendment clarifies Section 3, subsection 2, paragraph A, to clarify that any appropriate law enforcement agency refers only to authorized criminal justice agencies for criminal justice purposes, would ensure that only state-authorized criminal justice agencies have access to an applicant's address and contact information only for criminal justice purposes.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kaufman. Committee members, are there any questions on Assembly Bill 404? Not hearing any, so this has not been amended but previously, but it will be amended today to deal with the fiscal note. So the motion on 404 would be do pass as amended, amend and do pass. Amend and do pass. I'll accept a motion from Ms. Monroe Moreno, a second from Ms. Benitez Thompson. Any questions or comments on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any in opposition? Hearing no opposition, passes unanimously of the members present. And who had presented this bill to us?
Madam Chair, it was Bailey Bordelin from the Nevada Coalition of Legal Service Providers.
That's what, we did not have a legislator for this one. That's usually one I don't remember. So Ms. Howdigy, would you handle this one on the floor?
Yes.
Please, thank you. make all my notes so that I remember when it gets to the floor. So with that, we're to 451. And this is where we're going to go quick, folks, because these are all simple one-shots and supplementals for either equipment and shortages or whatever. So we're just going to roll right through all of these as quickly as we can. Okay? Thank you. Ms. Kaufman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Assembly Bill 451 was heard on April 14, 2021. Makes an appropriation of $2,530,292 to the Office of the Secretary of State to replace computer hardware and software. Scott Anderson, Chief Deputy for Secretary of State, testified. There were no other individuals who testified in support, opposition, or neutral, and there are no amendments.
Committee members, any questions or comments on Assembly Bill 451? Not seeing any. This would be a due pass. I'll accept a due pass from Ms. Moreno, a second from Ms. Benitez Thompson. Seeing no other questions or comments, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any in opposition? No opposition, passes unanimously, the members present. I will ask Ms. Howdiggy to handle this one also. Next one is 453.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Assembly Bill 453 was heard on April 12, 2021, and makes an appropriation of $34,000 to the account for pension of silicosis, disease-related, and asbestos and other disabilities. The individual who presented this bill was Tara Hagan, Chief Deputy Treasurer, and there were no other individuals who testified in support, opposition, of neutral, and there are no amendments with this bill.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kaufman. So, an appropriations bill, any questions or comments from the committee? Seeing none, I'll accept a motion to do pass from Ms. Monroe Moreno, a second from Ms. Benitez Thompson. Not seeing any other questions, all those in favor signify aye. Aye. Any in opposition? Hearing no opposition, passes unanimously, the members present. Assemblywoman Miller, I'm going to start handing a couple of these to you to take care of on the floor. So if you would take care of this one, please. Thank you, Chair. You're welcome. Divide and conquer time. Assembly Bill 454.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Assembly Bill 454 was heard on April 14, 2021. Assembly Bill 454 makes a $7,328,366 appropriation to the Nevada Promise Scholarship account to support the Nevada Promise Scholarship Program. Andrew Klinger, the CFO of Nevada System of Higher Education, presented on this bill. There were 4 individuals who testified in support, and there are no amendments.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments from the committee on Assembly Bill 454? Not seeing any. I will take a motion from Ms. Monroe Moreno, a second from Ms. Benitez Thompson. Seeing no one wishing to be recognized, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any in opposition? Hearing no opposition, passes unanimously, the members present. Ms. Miller, I'd like you to take care of this one too, please, on the floor. You're welcome. Moving on to the next bill, Assembly Bill 455.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Assembly Bill 455 was heard in committee on April 12, 2021. Makes an appropriation of $18,848 to the Office of the State Controller for replacement of printers. Lori Hoover, Chief Deputy of the Controller's Office, testified, presented on this bill, and there were no individuals who testified in support, opposition, or neutral, and there are no amendments.
Thank you very much. Committee members, are there any questions on Assembly Bill 455? Not seeing anyone wishing to be recognized, I would accept a motion to do pass from Ms. Monroe Moreno, second from Ms. Benitez Thompson. Seeing no one else wishing to be recognized at this time, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any in opposition? Hearing no opposition, passes unanimously, the members present. Ms. Miller, third time's the charm. This one's for you too.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Don't worry, Ms. Gorlow, I haven't forgot you. So with that, Assembly Bill 456, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Assembly Bill 456 was heard on April 12, 2021. Makes an appropriation of $85,750 to the Aging and Disability Services Division of the Department of Health and Human Services for pavement maintenance at the Jones campus of the Desert Regional Center. Jeff Haig, Deputy Administrator of the Division of Aging and Disability Services, presented the bill. There were no individuals in support, opposition, or neutral, and there are no proposed amendments.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kaufman. Are there any questions? Seeing anyone wishing to be recognized, Chair would accept a motion to do pass from Ms. Monroe Moreno, second from Ms. Benitez Thompson. Any questions or comments? Not seeing any. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any in opposition? Hearing no opposition, passes unanimously. The members present. Ms. Gorlow, this one's for you. Assembly Bill 457 is next. Ms. Kaufman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Assembly Bill 457 makes an appropriation of $666,590 to the Division of Forestry for the State Department of Conservation and Natural Resources for deferred maintenance projects. The individual that testified or presented this bill was Casey, the state forester. There were no individuals who testified in support, opposition, or neutral. There was an amendment that was provided. The agency confirmed that $28,700 in projects in one-shots listed on the CIP were duplicate, and as such, the amount should be revised from $666,590 to $637,890 to remove the duplicate projects.
All right. So with that, committee members, any questions? Not hearing any, so this would be an amend and do pass from Ms. Monroe Moreno, second from Ms. Benitez Thompson. Seeing no one wishing to be recognized at this time, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any in opposition? Hearing no opposition, passes unanimously, the members present. I'll give this one to Ms. Gorlow also. 458.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Assembly Bill 458 makes an appropriation of $693,670 to the Real Estate Division of the Department of Business and Industry for an upgrade to its licensing software system, and a $37,654 appropriation for the replacement of computer hardware and software. The individual who testified on this bill was Sharath Chandra, the Division Administrator for the Real Estate Division. There were 0 individuals in support, opposition, or neutral, and there are no proposed amendments.
Thank you, Ms. Kaufman. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll accept a motion to do pass from Ms. Monroe Moreno, second from Ms. Benitez Thompson. Seeing no one else wishing to be recognized, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any in opposition? Hearing no opposition, passes unanimously of the members present. Ms. Gorlow, this one's yours too. Go. And AB 459. We're going to take a quick breath, but don't anybody get out of your chair. I think we're good. Let's go ahead and do Assembly Bill 459.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Assembly Bill 459 moves the Office of Workforce Innovation from the Office of the Governor to the Department of Employment, Training, and Rehabilitation, provides that the Executive Director of the Office of Workforce Innovation and a State Apprenticeship Director are in the unclassified service of the state. The individual who testified on this bill was Alyssa Cafaretta, the Director of the Department of Employment, Training, and Rehabilitation. There was one individual who testified in neutral on this position, and there was an amendment that was proposed by Strategies 360. The amendment would revise Assembly Bill 459 and Chapters 223, 607, 610 of NRS to return responsibilities of the apprenticeship to the Office of the Labor Commissioner rather than transferring the responsibilities of the Department of Employment, Training, and Rehabilitation. Provide the Labor Commissioner appoints the State Apprenticeship Director rather than the Governor, and provides the Governor will appoint voting members of the Apprenticeship Council based on the recommendations of the Labor Commissioner rather than the Executive Director of the Office of Workforce Innovation. That is the only amendment, Madam Chair.
And thank you, Ms. Kaufman. Those, committee, you'll remember the conversation in closing of this item. There was discussion about where the apprenticeship office would actually end up. Work was done between the interested parties, and this was the amendment that was agreed to. And since we had jurisdiction over the bill, this is, the budget section is being done in the closing on the budget, but this is the implementation part of the bill that allows everything to align up with the budget. So this deals with the apprenticeship issue. So are there any questions from any committee members at this time on this issue, on this bill? Not seeing any. So this would be an amend and do pass. I'll accept a motion from Ms. Monroe Moreno, a second from Ms. Benitez Thompson. All those in favor, please, any questions or comments? Ms. Tolles?
Yes, thank you, Chair. And I recall we had quite a bit of discussion and questions in regards to this move of Owen to Dieter, and I certainly share the support for the changes to the apprenticeship piece of it with my colleagues on this committee, but I do not support Owen moving under Dieter, so I will be a no.
Any other comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those in opposition? Nay. So I have Dr. Titus a nay, Mr. Hafen, Ms. Tolles, and Mr. Roberts, and Mr. Levitt. Okay, so I will handle this bill on the floor because it seems like we might be having further discussion. We can move on to Assembly Bill 460.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Assembly Bill 460 makes a $100 appropriation to the Division of Museums and Histories for the Department of Tourism, Cultural Affairs to restore the school bus program to reimburse transportation costs for public school students to visit state museums. The individual who testified or presented this bill was Myron Friedman, the Division Administrator for Museums and History. There were two individuals that testified in support of this bill, and there are no proposed amendments.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kaufman. Committee members, the history behind this one is a number of years, I think 2 sessions ago, in conversations with the department, the school bus program was brought up and dollars were appropriated. The money was being raised through a nonprofit that was associated with the museum, the Friends of the Museum. And so being a member of the Friends of the Museum, we had a discussion here in the legislature about trying to make sure that kids could get to the museums and such, and the barrier was the cost of the school bus. So with the budget cuts that were proposed, they did decide to just submit this appropriation for $100,000. I'll not propose an amendment to this evening because we have a philosophy right now. We don't want to surprise anybody, but the chair is considering possibly adding a little bit more to this in the future as it heads to the floor. When we break down the cost of the buses, definitely more is needed, especially what we all believe will be the pent-up demand for kids wanting to go on field trips once school is back in. But there's still some discussion about what the exact amount would need to be. So I'd like to go ahead and process the bill to keep it moving, and then have further discussions to make sure that we have the correct number, so that we can adjust this to make sure that that opportunity is available to all children across the state to be able to utilize this program. So I'll go ahead and accept a motion to do pass AB 460 from Ms. Monroe Moreno and a second from Ms. Benitez Thompson. Any other questions or comments on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any in opposition? Hearing none, motion passes unanimously, the members present. I will handle this bill on the floor, and I will make sure that I give the committee members a heads up on where those discussions continue to go. All right. Moving on to Assembly Bill 464.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Assembly Bill 464 was heard on May 3rd, 2021, and makes an appropriation to restore the balances of the state claims account, the emergency account, the reserve for statutory contingency account, and the contingency account. Those amounts are as follows. For the stale claims account, $3,570,578. For the emergency account, $239,791. For the statutory contingency account, $12,051,658. And for the contingency account, $13,667,305. There was Director Brown from the Governor's Finance Office presented the bill, and there were no individuals who testified in support, opposition, or neutral, and there are no amendments recommended.
Okay, thank you very much. Committee members, any questions? This is a standard bill that we do every time to just replenish everything. So, not seeing anyone wishing to be recognized, I would accept a do pass from Ms. Monroe Moreno, a second from Ms. Benitez Thompson. Any questions or comments on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any in opposition? No opposition, passes unanimously of the members present. I'll ask Ms. Monroe Moreno to handle this one on the floor. Okay, with that, moving on to the next bill, which would be 465.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Assembly Bill 465 was heard in committee on May 3rd, 2021, and makes an appropriation of $2,119,308 to the Division of Water Resource for the State Department of Conservation and Natural Resources to repair and provide maintenance to the South Fork Dam. Adam Sullivan, Acting Division Administrator for the Division of Water Resources, presented the bill, and there were no individuals who testified in support, opposition, or neutral. There are no amendments for this bill.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the committee members on Assembly Bill 465? Not seeing any. The chair would accept a motion to do pass from Ms. Monroe Moreno, second from Ms. Benitez Thompson. Seeing no one else wishing to be recognized at time, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposition? Hearing no opposition, passes unanimously of the members present. Mr. Watts, I'm going to hand this one back to you. And moving on to the next bill, 466.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Assembly Bill 466 was heard in committee on May 3rd, 2021, and makes a $15,842,443 appropriation for hepatitis C treatment for offenders and $196,523 appropriation for the replacement of medical and dental equipment for the Department of Corrections. The individual who presented on this bill was Russ Alfano, who is an administrative service officer for the Department of Corrections. There was one individual who testified in support of this bill, and there are no recommended amendments.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kaufman. Any questions or comments from committee members at this time? Seeing none, the chair would accept a motion to do pass Assembly Bill 466 from Vice Chairman Moreno, second from Majority Leader Benitez Thompson. Seeing no one wishing to be recognized at this time, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing no one in opposition, motion passes unanimously of the members present. I'll be, Ms. Monroe Moreno, if you would handle this one too, please. There we go. Moving on to 467.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Assembly Bill 467 was heard in committee on May 3rd, 2021. And this bill makes an appropriation to the Department of Transportation in the amount of $2,614,908. That was a general fund appropriation. There was also a highway fund appropriation of $19,398,147. And this is for the replacement of the Nevada Shared Radio System. The individual who presented on this bill was Christina Swallow, who is the Department of Transportation Director. There were no individuals who testified in support, opposition, or neutral on this bill, and there are no amendments.
Thank you, Ms. Kaufman. Any questions or comments? Not seeing any. The chair would accept a motion to do pass Assembly Bill 467 from Ms. Monroe Moreno, second from Ms. Benitez Thompson. Seeing no one wishing to be recognized, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposition? No opposition, passes unanimously of the members present. Ms. Peters, would you handle this one on the floor, please? Did she hear me? Yes. Okay, all right, good. Thanks. Hard to tell sometimes when the masks are on. So, Assembly Bill 468, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Assembly Bill 468 was heard in committee on May 3rd, 2021, and it makes various appropriations with a combined total of $2,217,734 for the various divisions within the Department of Motor Vehicles for replacement, computer hardware and software, and other various equipment. The individual who testified to present this bill was Sean Severs, the Division Administrator for the Department of Motor Vehicles. There were no individuals who testified in support, opposition, or neutral, and there are no recommended amendments.
Thank you, Ms. Kaufman. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, Chair would accept a motion to do pass Assembly Bill 468 from Vice Chair Monroe Moreno, second from Majority Leader Benitez Thompson. Any questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any in opposition? Hearing no opposition, passes unanimously the members present. Ms. Peters, would you take care of this one also, please? Thank you very much. Moving on to Assembly Bill 469.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Assembly Bill 469 was heard in committee on May 3rd, 2021, and it makes a supplemental appropriation to the Office of the Secretary of State for a projected shortfall related to credit card processing fees of $549,998. The individual who presented this bill was Secretary of State Zagaski, and there were no individuals who testified in support, opposition, or neutral, and there are no amendments.
Thank you very much. So committee members, Assembly Bill 469, any questions? Seeing none, the chair would accept a motion to do pass Assembly Bill 469 from Ms. Monroe Moreno, a second from Majority Leader Benitez Thompson. No one wishing to be recognized. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing no opposition, passes unanimously of all the members. We'll go ahead and give this one to Ms. Peters also. Divide and conquer, here we go. AB 470.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Assembly Bill 470 was heard in committee on May 3rd, 2021, and makes a supplemental appropriation to the Real Estate Division of the Department of Business and Industry for a projected shortfall relating to timeshare filing fees. The individual who presented this bill was Sharith Chandra of the Real Estate Division, and there were no individuals who testified in opposition, support or neutral, and there are no amendments. And I apologize, did I provide the general fund appropriation? It was $481,920.
With that, committee members, are there any questions? Seeing none, Chair would accept a motion to do pass from Vice Chair Monroe Moreno, second from Majority Leader Benitez Thompson. Seeing no one wishing to be recognized, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any in opposition? Hearing no opposition, passes unanimously. I will ask Ms. Howdigy to handle this one, please.
You got it, thank you.
And the last one for this round, folks, AB 474, and this is how Ways and Means does it at dusk. So with that, AB 474.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Assembly Bill 474 was heard in committee on May 3rd, 2021, and makes an appropriation and authorizes expenditures of money to the Division of Welfare and Supportive Services for the Department of Health and Human Services for the continuation of the Technology Modernization Project for the Child Support Enforcement Program. The bill provides for a general fund appropriation of $17,472,208. And it also provides for the authorization of non-general fund revenues of $34,316,638 for this purpose. The individual who presented on this bill was Steve Fisher, the Division Administrator of the Division of Welfare and Supportive Services. There was one individual who testified in support of this bill, and there are no amendments.
Thank you very much. Committee members, any questions? Not seeing any. The chair would accept a motion to do pass on Assembly Bill 474 from Ms. Monroe Moreno, second from Majority Leader Benitez Thompson. Not seeing anyone wishing to be recognized. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposition? Hearing none. Passes unanimously. And I'll go ahead and ask Ms. Gorlow to take care of this bill, please. Okay. Later on in the session, when they start moving quicker, we probably won't be doing bill assignments to different committee members because we're just going to be shoving them out the door faster. So we'll just take them as we go. So committee members, Ms. Kaufman, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Got us through the first part of this. Committee, we'll now go ahead and go to our agenda. And as I stated earlier, Assembly Bill 477 will not be heard or dealt with this evening. There's more information that we need to get before we can have the conversation about that. So let's go ahead and start at the top with Assembly Bill 475, which makes an appropriation to the Millennium Scholarship Trust Fund to support the Governor Gwynn Millennium Scholarship Program. And I'm proud to say I was here to vote on that back in 1999. So with that, Ms. Brown, how are you?
Great, thank you. For the record, Susan Brown. Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the committee. My name is Susan Brown. I serve as the Director of the Governor's Office of Finance. AB 475, the bill before the committee tonight, requests an appropriation of $42 million for the Millennium Scholarship Trust Fund to support the Governor Gwynn Millennium Scholarship Program. This will continue scholarship payments through the fiscal year 22-23 biennium. This program also receives other dedicated revenues. The program has seen a larger increase in scholarship users beginning in the summer of 2020, which has continued into the fall and spring semesters. This request for funding, along with other dedicated funds, is anticipated to cover the expected costs through the next biennium. And with that, I would be happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much, Ms. Brown. I will go ahead and open it up to questions from the committee. This is the appropriation to the Millennium Scholarship Program. Are there any questions? Assemblyman Haven?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to get on the record that I'm personally very thankful for this scholarship program. It did pay for most of my college. And hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve.
We're not there yet.
Oh, bummer. Dang it. Okay. I'm trying to get through this. All right.
That's okay. I think a number of us on this committee probably had friends, family, acquaintances who have benefited from this program, and I remember debating this with Governor Gwynn at the Old Globe one evening. I'll admit that happened. So I wanted him to focus on one thing, but he wanted to focus on another, and you can see where it is. He won the argument. So with that, are there any other questions or comments on Assembly Bill 475? No, not seeing any. So the speaker has given this committee permission to process bills as we hear them to keep things moving. So we'll hear the other bills, and then we will come back and process as many of these as possible so that we don't slow it up, because we're not meeting as often until the policy committees get done with their work. So we'll keep this one in the queue. Don't put it away. So with that, it is the bill hearing. I do need to open it up for support, opposition, and neutral. I apologize. I always forget about that. So broadcast services, do we have anyone on the phone line in support of Assembly Bill 475?
Chair, the testimony line is open and working. However, we have no one to testify in support on AB 475.
All righty. So with that, do we have anyone in opposition?
Chair, there is no one to testify in opposition to AB 475.
Okay, I think I can make a wild guess on neutral, but we'll go through the process. Please open it up to anyone in neutral.
There is no one on the call to testify in neutral on AB 475 either.
Thank you very much. So we will go ahead and close the hearing on Assembly Bill 475. As I said, committee, don't put it away too far. So with that, we can go to Assembly Bill 476. Good evening, Mr. Sever. Nice to see you.
You too, Madam Chair. Good evening, Madam Chair, committee members. Sean Sever from the DMV for the record. I do have a PowerPoint to present. No, I'm totally kidding. I was paying attention the other night.
I know.
We're all awake now, though.
So we're still working on your budget, right?
Right.
Don't put that in the minutes, please. So let's start again. Good evening, Mr. Sever. How are you?
Good evening, Madam Chair, committee members. Sean Sever from the DMV for the record. Thank you for letting us present AB 476 to you tonight. This bill requests to rename the DMV's Management Services and Programs Division to the Research and Project Management Division, or RPM. The name change better reflects the main duties of this division and the need for a formalized project management team as the department prepares to transform its service delivery. This division consists of employees from budget accounts 4716 and 4742, joining two strong teams with similar skills in project management. This team will lead the DMV into its transformation process, which will involve moving the majority of our services online in the next 4 years, so Nevadans are not required to come into our offices. We still will be open for those who prefer doing in-person transactions. However, we think most people will prefer skipping a trip to the DMV. So we appreciate your considering our request and can answer any questions at this point.
Thank you very much. Excellent PowerPoint presentation. So, committee members, are there any questions or comments? Who would think it would be the DMV that would crack us up? So, not seeing any questions or comments. This is the hearing on Assembly Bill 476, so I'll go ahead and open it up. Broadcast services, if we could please go to the phone line for those who might be in support of Assembly Bill 476.
Chair, there is no one on the line to testify in support on AB 476.
Thank you so much. Opposition, please.
Chair, there is no one to testify in opposition on AB 476.
Thank you very much. Anyone in neutral?
Chair, there is no one to testify in neutral on AB 476.
Thank you so much, Broadcast Services. We appreciate all of your help. I'll go ahead and close the hearing on Assembly Bill 476. Don't put it away. It's coming back around the horn. Assembly Bill 477 has been delayed, and we will go to Assembly Bill 478.
Good evening, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is Dina Schmidt, and I serve as the Administrator with Aging and Disability Services Division. I'm here to present AB 478. This bill is a budget bill to align with the governor's recommended budget, which did recommend moving the Patient Protection Commission to the Aging and Disability Services Division. On March 5th, the Senate Committee on Finance and Assembly Committee on Ways and Means Subcommittee on Human Services voted to move the Patient Protection Commission to the Department of Health and Human Services in the Director's Office rather than Aging and Disability Services Division. And additionally, as you mentioned earlier, Madam Chair, AB 348, sponsored by yourself, moves the PPC to the Director's Office in the Department of Health and Human Services. So in order to align this bill with those efforts, we have submitted an amendment. The amendment will make the following changes. In Section 1, it changes Aging and Disability Services Division to the Director's Office within the Department of Health and Human Services. And in Section 4, it changes Administrator to Director. With that, I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you. So, are there any questions or comments from the committee members? Not seeing any. Because the other bill had moved, this bill would be amended to true it up with the other bills, if I'm understanding you correctly, Ms. Schmidt.
Dina Schmidt, for the record, that is correct. That is our intention, is to align this with the other two.
As the budget was closed and as the other bill has been processed. Okay. So with that, are there any questions or comments of Ms. Schmidt at this time? Not seeing any. Thank you very much. This is the hearing for Assembly Bill 478. We'll go ahead and open it up for those in support. If we could go to the phone lines.
Chair, the testimony line is open and working. However, we have no one on the line to testify in support on AB 478.
Thank you very much. Anyone in opposition to AB 478?
Chair, there is no one on the line to testify in opposition to AB 478.
Thank you very much. And anyone in neutral?
The testimony line is open and working. However, we have no one to testify in neutral on AB 478.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that. So I'll go ahead and close the hearing on Assembly Bill 478. I need to make sure that we move this appropriately with the other bills. So we'll not be processing this one tonight. I just want to make sure that all the pieces fit together before we move something to the floor that may have a contradictory provision in it. So Assembly Bill 478, committee members, you can put away, but expect to see it very soon in the future. So with that, in about an hour, we've knocked out a lot of work. Thank you all very much. I'd like to go ahead and go back and open up a work session on the two bills that we just heard. There's no reason to hold on to them if we can keep them moving to the floor. So you just recently heard Assembly Bill 475, which makes an appropriation from the State General Fund to the Millennium Scholarship Trust Fund in the amount of $42 million to support the Governor Gwynn Millennium Scholarship Program. Are there any questions or comments on this bill at this time? Not seeing anyone, the chair would accept a motion to do pass from Ms. Monroe Moreno and a second from Mr. Hafen. Any questions or comments on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any in opposition? Hearing none, passes unanimously of the members present. I'll handle this one on the floor. It'll be the last time I get to do it. There we go. And then Assembly Bill 476. Renames the Division of Management Services and Programs in the Department of Motor Vehicles. Inserts a Division of Research and Project Management. Any questions or comments, committee, on Assembly Bill 476? Not seeing any, the chair would accept a motion to do pass from Ms. Monroe Moreno, a second from Ms. Benitez Thompson, and seeing no one wishing to be recognized, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any in opposition? Hearing no opposition, passes unanimously of the members present, and I'm going to go ahead and ask Ms. Peters to handle this bill, please. Welcome. So committee members, in a little over an hour, we've got a lot of work done, so. With that, I believe our bill work for the evening is done. The last thing on our agenda is public comment. But again, committee members, when the agendas are posted, there will be a work session, probably in every single meeting that we have, and the chair I will do my best to get you those numbers ahead of time. When it is possible, there will come a time where it'll just be whatever we've got, we have to move. So just so that you're prepared to have your notes with you as you move through this. So with that, broadcast services, if we could go ahead and open it up for public comment this evening.
Chair, the public comment line is open and working. However, we have no callers at this time.
Thank you very much, Broadcast Services, for being a partner with Ways and Means at dusk. We do appreciate you being there for us. So committee members, there's no other work before us. We are adjourned. See you all in the morning at the joint committee.